Today I thought I'd show you how to make a wicking bed, and you can really make a wicking bed out of almost anything at all. And today I've got a boat, half a boat, and I like to turn that into a wicking bed. The whole principle behind a wicking bed is that you've got some sort of reservoir of water at the base, and then that water is sucked up by capillary action through the roots, and it wicks up essentially, and it provides a constant steady flow of water for your plants. So it's really fantastic for the plants. The plants will love it. Constant steady supply of water and nutrient, and everything will flourish and thrive. So let's see what we can do with our boat. You can see here I've got half a boat. Now I've lifted it up off the ground just to show you underneath. So what I've done, first thing I've done is to create a bed just for it to sit on. So I've just used these round blocks and pretty much anything I had lying around, bits and pieces, just to level it. We want it to be perfectly level. And you can see also that it's got this little rim up and underneath. It's an easy picture to see. So what I like to do is to support it a little bit further, just by putting some star stakes in. You can see there, just a couple of star stakes. So I've just lowered it now back onto the bed that I created out of bricks, and you can see it just sits beautifully on the star stakes there. It's completely level underneath. Now, this particular boat is, not really seaworthy. I originally had some holes drilled in. I was going to turn it into a Aquaponics grow bed. Unfortunately, I changed my mind. Now, I could have done that. However, I've decided to make it a wicking bed instead. I need another wicking bed. It's quite an unusual one. Now, I need to fill those holes. You can't have holes in the bottom, it needs to hold water. So what I'm going to do is fill those up, and fill it up with silicon, that gap underneath there. So as you can see, it's got a pretty decent gap under there, about 2 centimeters or an inch, and a couple of round holes. So I'll fill those holes up, and there's another couple of holes around the place as well. Just a little bit of silicon should hold that, and yeah, I'll turn it into a wicking bed. Look, I just scrounge around and find whatever I can find to fill the gaps, to fill those holes. So I found some core flute material that I use on the ground sometimes to mix cement and other things. It's perfect, really. It's soft, it's pliable. I can chop it up and I'll just silicone it on. So as you can see, it's just the same core flute material. It's plastic, so it's not going to leak if I just glue that on. I'll just chop it to size. Now what I'm going to do is utilise this agricultural pipe. You can get it anywhere, second hand. I got all of this for $10. $10 on Gumtree, you can get it. You can buy a whole brand new roll if you like, but I just find it, use everything I can second hand. But what I'm going to do is utilise this as the base of the wicking bed. Now, in previous videos I've used gravel and sand mixture, but in this particular case I'm going to try just the ag pipe. So what I'm going to do is utilize the agricultural pipe. It's 90 centimeters in diameter, so that'll create a good void underneath. So that'll be the first layer, and the water will sit at that layer. So by utilizing this stuff, it's pretty good. It's actually hollow. It's designed for irrigation. It's got holes all through it. You can see there. It is actually designed, to diffuse water all through a main channel through your yard. You dig a trench, you put that stuff in, but it also permeates through the soil once you've buried it in. So I think it'll be a good material to use as a foundation for the wicking bed. Now in the past I've used gravel and I've used sand and a layer of gravel and sand, but I think in this particular case I'm just going to use the agricultural pipe that I've got, and we'll see how it goes. I'm going to clean it a little bit. I've already scrubbed it best as possible, but just dry it as well, clean and dry before I put silicone on. It's like watching grass grow, but riveting TV. The silicone does require a good dry seal, and although it's a hot day, well, it's early morning now, 7 o'clock, so, but I want to do this, and I've got a day job to go to, so I want to do this fast, and then I'll come back and keep going on. Putting a good dose of silicone on, so I really don't want it to leak. I'll just put a bit of silicone around everything. I'm probably going to use a whole tube of silicone doing this. I'm just going to put that core flute material straight over the top, not too precious about it. It will just form a barrier, and it will hold water, it's plastic, can't see why it won't. With silicone on it, and I'm going to fill that void right there with silicone. That's a huge amount of silicone I'm using, but there's a good channel there, and I don't want that water to go through. So this will fix it. Right, that'll do me. Don't want the water to get out. Okay, so that should be pretty sealed up now. I've put a huge amount of silicone in there, and I've patched all these little tiny holes here as well. I don't know what they did before I got this boat, but they pretty much, well, they cut the boat in half to start with. I'm not sure what else they did to it. This is a simple matter of putting this material back over the top and then flattening it out. I've got that slightly out, but that's okay, extra silicone. And then I'll just press down on this, I'll lock it into position, and I'll put a brick on it, and it will dry accordingly. It'll take a few hours to dry, no doubt. And I'll then should have a waterproof seal, which costs me nothing. And at the end of the day, it's a patch for my rubber dinghy. So we're getting closer. Okay, so what I've just done is, as you can see, I've just put a pile of bricks on there, and I'll just let that silicone dry now. I've pressed around the edges just to make sure that the seal stays on tight and the silicone sticks appropriately. And I'll just leave that for the day, and then when I come back from work, I'll start putting all the agricultural pipe in there. All right, so now all I have to do is remove the bricks. I'll just remove them, and it should be pretty flat. Voila. So now, as you can see, it's just all siliconed on, it's all dry, and it's pretty good. So it's just formed the shape of the actual boat, and the silicone's all dry, so it's not going to leak, and all these little joints are all sealed up. So now now we've got our shell. Now we've got the shell. Okay, so now with the wicking bed, just laying it down, just going to put a piece underneath. We'll cut that off, and that'll be where we water from. Okay, wicking bed. All you need is some sort of layer at the bottom. So in this case, what we're using is the agricultural pipe. It's perforated, it's got all sorts of holes in it, and we're just simply laying it down, chopping it up. That'll be a layer, and then after that we will place this piece of geo fabric over the top, and that'll create a membrane, a wicking membrane, and the plants will suck up the water. Yeah, chopped up all the agricultural pipe. We've created a layer now, and that layer will just allow water to move throughout the bottom. Now those bricks are just there to steady it for the time being, or I'm about to remove those bricks. As I put the geo fabric down, we'll remove the bricks. Okay, we're just layering the geo fabric over the top, just tucking it in really closely. taking the bricks out, tucking all that geofabric in, and then we'll fill it up with dirt. Okay, as you can see, laid the geofabric. It's an old one that I've used previously, so it's a bit dirty, but hey, who cares? Normally I would put a little bit of sand in there as a wicking medium, wet, you know, just a soft sand from just river sand. But in this case, I didn't have any, and I've used a very long length of this geofabric, so it's going to be a great wicking medium. This will be a great herb garden. So we've wrapped it like a big giant present, and we've taken all the bricks out of it now, and all we're doing is just laying a nice compost garden soil. It's a mixture, and I'm gonna make a herb garden. Just to finish it off, just don't want any mosquitoes, so I've got one of these gadgets and put that over the top, and there'll be a screw fitting. It'll stop all the mosquitoes. Now in this case, the boat didn't have a little backing, so we've just cut a little bit of treated pine just to shape it, and we're just going to screw it straight into the end, and that'll hold the soil, no problemo. Our timber in place, just screwed straight in with some Tech screws in the side. Just a matter of lifting the inlet up, which we just did, just lifting that a little bit and filling it up with dirt. And then we've got an instant boat herb garden. Okay, so now that we've filled the boat garden up, boat wicking bed, we take off the lid and we simply just fill it up from the bottom. And we'll just fill that up, and then the plants we'll plant some plants, and away we go. Boat wicking bed garden complete. Hey, I really appreciate you watching, and I'd like to know what you thought of this video, so feel free to write in the chat box below. And if you're new to this channel and you'd like to know more, then hit that subscribe button, and if you wouldn't mind, give me a good old thumbs up so I know I'm on the right track. And just to also let you know too that I do have a private Facebook group, and I go in there live every week and I answer questions from the chat as well. So feel free to join that as well, and I'll put it in the comment section below.